Unless you've been living under a rock, chances are that you heard about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's interview with Oprah. And after some shocking accusations of racism were revealed, many have begun to consider abolishing the monarchy. So on today's episode of the Rooster Report, we're going to be giving you a Canadian perspective on both sides of the issue. But before we do, don't forget to help us out by destroying that like button and subscribing to the channel. First, let's look at the cold, hard data. According to a report by the Monarchist League of Canada, Canadians spent just under $62.5 million on the monarchy in 2017. This number tends to grow every single year, and it is generally spent in three different ways. The first is on royal visits, which, depending on the number in a year, can vary wildly in cost. The second is on the office of the Governor General, who is the Queen's top representative in Canada. The third is for all of Canada's lieutenant governors, who are the Queen's representative in Canada's 10 provinces and 3 territories. In tandem, all of these institutions cost tens of millions of dollars per year, or in per-person terms, about $1.68 per Canadian citizen. According to many supporters of the monarchy, this is in itself a reason to keep the Queen around. Known as monarchists, these people argue that a cost of $1.68 per person is exceptionally low, and that this makes removing the monarchy not worth the meager financial gains that would come as a result. They also tend to stress that the monarchy acts as a unifying force for all Canadians, and that it is a symbol of Canadian history and heritage. Given that thousands flock to see the royals whenever they visit Canada, no matter their religion, race, gender, or creed, this seems to be a fair argument. Many also point to the fact that very modern and innovative countries such as Japan, Belgium, Denmark, and Sweden are all constitutional monarchies, indicating that this form of government does not impede on a country's progress, especially since the Queen and her governors very rarely exercise their political power. As a final and perhaps most powerful argument, most monarchists make the very fair assertion that it would be near impossible for Canada to renounce the monarchy due to it being enshrined in the Constitution. According to page 66, section 41, the monarchy can only be renounced if agreed upon by the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the provincial legislatures of all 10 provinces. In other words, a lot of politicians from very different backgrounds would all have to agree for this to be a possibility. What's more, even if they did all agree to remove the Queen, the process would be extremely complicated and time-consuming for two main reasons. The first is that vast reforms would have to be made to the Constitution, as all of the roles of the Queen, Governor Generals, and Lieutenant Governors would have to be changed. And the second is that many treaties between Canada's First Nations people and the Canadian government would have to be renegotiated, as many were made directly with the United Kingdom. As a result, abolishing the monarchy may just be more of a headache than it's worth. On the other hand, supporters of a Canadian republic think otherwise. While they should not be confused with those south of the border, they are known as Republicans. One of their central arguments is that the Queen is an antiquated figurehead who does not represent most Canadians. After all, Canada truly is a country built on the backs of immigrants from around the world. And even today, Stats Canada reports that only about 34% of Canadians identify as having English or Scottish ancestry. What's more, the popularity of the British monarchy has been on the decline for years, and in 2021, their approval rating in Canada reached an all-time low of just 24%. Therefore, given that the majority of Canadians do not identify as English or Scottish, and that the majority of Canadians do not approve of the Queen, then it follows that the majority should be able to kick the Queen out of power. This is especially true since to many Canadians, the Queen is seen as a holdover from the colonial era, and is someone who they both don't identify with and don't see as a meaningful symbol. To top this off, many think that the monarchists' attempt to frame $62.5 million as a small sum of money is elitist. After all, this is enough money to set up facilities such as homeless shelters, food banks, and community centers across the country, ensuring that the money will enhance Canadian society rather than line the pockets of the Queen's employees. It should also be mentioned that abolishing the monarchy wouldn't even be an unprecedented move, as countries such as Ireland left in 1949, while Barbados is actually planning to leave later this year. So thanks to all of these factors, many see abolishing the monarchy as a necessary step if Canada is to truly become its own independent nation. So let us know in the comments down below which side of the debate you are on. Thanks for watching today's episode of the Rooster Report, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and smash that notifications button so that you never miss out on any of our latest videos. Until next time.